Go to you, Gar. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the Midweek War! This is something different. Basically, wrestling in the midweek is kind of boring this week. TNA is a repeat, or a recap. ROH is a recap. NXT is a recap. So, we decided to do something a little bit different. We are going to hop in our TARDISes, and we are going to time travel to the year 2002. A very special thing happened in the year 2002, but before we get to that, with me is the voice of Inspire Pro Wrestling, Eamon Paton.
Why did I do this?
I will say this was your idea. For this podcast, can we call you NWA-man?
Sure, why not? Why not? Yeah, this is a show. This is the thing we're talking about right now. Oh boy.
And also with us is the man who likes Impact Wrestling, Tonio Garza.
I am the man who likes Impact Wrestling, but I'm still not sure if I like Asylum Wrestling.
Oh man. And we've I mean if you can see the title for this, you know exactly what we're talking about. TNA, in their infinite wisdom and in their possibility that they weren't going to get another TV deal, they started uploading their old Asylum episodes to YouTube. And oh man, are they a delight.
I love it because it's like their idea of being like, hey guys, you know, I mean, in theory, it's their idea of being like, hey guys, look at our history, look at, you know, our older stuff.
Yeah, YouTube is the TNA network.
Oh boy.
For only free.
If there's anything that, you know, can get people, you know, interested in sort of the past of an organization, get someone invested in an organization, this is not it.
Hey, 6 years is going to be good.
Yeah, the best way to close out 2015 is by watching the first ever episode of TNA. Because what we're going to do is Garza's going to lead us through this show segment by segment. And Eamon and I are going to break it down CSI style. And we're going to find out exactly what went wrong with TNA. Believe me, it will not take us long to figure it out. But so Garza, let's start us off. How did this hot product, this hot company, this hot wrestling promotion start us off?
Alrighty, well, we are in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah, so we're keeping
a hotbed of professional wrestling.
They call this the Asylum years, but technically this is not the Asylum.
Yeah, we're not yet at the actual Asylum. But
already, TNA from the future has fucked up their past.
But the crowd definitely feels they belong in the Asylum. So
I'm surprised this crowd just wasn't chanting Jerry, Jerry, Jerry all night long.
Show starts off with the NWA signature, followed by a bunch of video game themes and the TNA logo. We have Don West come out and he introduces Ed Ferrara, who is wearing a Hawaiian shirt, blue glasses, and dreadlocks.
Okay, so this is my first couple notes. I just wrote Ed Ferrara makes a TNA joke 2 minutes into the show.
Yep.
Like, and it's not even like he's like, I'm not talking about total nonstop action. You know what I'm talking about. Yes, Ed, we know what you're talking about.
And thus the problems begin.
And then I just wrote Ed Ferrara is already pissing me off.
Ed Ferrara has already ruined this company, because if you thought it would stand for total nonstop action, you are incorrect, because they will remind you of boobs and butts the entire night.
Ed Ferrara is probably... it would take me hard to find like a kind of like worse thing, like a person who's made the worst like indelible mark in wrestling, at least on screen, at least even, because I mean this is Oklahoma, Like, this is...
Like, the Ed Ferrara that he's portraying is like Michael Hayes on an acid trip. Let's be fair.
It's Michael Hayes plus Jerry Lawler plus Joe Gertner, who, by the way, we will see later in the night.
We're going to see a lot of people from companies that ended in CW.
Drink every time the announcers say, hey, this person was in this company.
Oh my god, no, do not do that. Do not, unless you are drinking something like this, do not do that. You will go to the hospital. You will go to the hospital because it happens quite a bit. Okay, so Ed Ferrara comes out, then what?
Ed Ferrara comes out, he introduces Mike Tenay, who in contrast is wearing a tuxedo. And then they are going to introduce the NWA legends. Names include Harley Race, Story Funk, Jackie Fargo, Bob Armstrong, Corsica Joe, Sarah Lee, Bill Behrens, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
And that's when I know 10 wrestling. They give you a shot of like the hard cam or whatever with everyone in the ring, and I just wrote 10 wrestling legends in the ring as a cage dancer looks on in the background.
I also want to point out how many of these wrestling legends had matches well after their debut in TNA, including Bob Armstrong in an arm wrestling match inside 6 Sides of Steel. Also, can I point out that Ricky Steamboat looks better now than he did in 2002?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
It's very weird.
Yoga.
We need to know the ways of the dragon. That's really it.
Well, they're out here to introduce that there's going to be a gauntlet match for the vacant NWA world title at the end of the show.
Already, they don't know what a gauntlet is.
Well, they're calling it their thing. At least I'll give you this. They maintain that definition throughout all the years. So
yes,
that's props. That's props
incorrect definition. That's like me saying literally when I mean figuratively. Just because they changed the definition doesn't make it correct.
Well, it's basically their way of saying Royal Rumble without saying Royal Rumble, which is not a big thing in this show.
But it's not even a Royal Rumble.
It's like
it ends in a pinfall.
I know, but like you notice a lot during this show. It's a lot of dancing around what they can and cannot say from other organizations.
There's a lot of dancing around in this show. We'll say that.
Oh man. I also note that you slowly start to see how there's such a lack of an executive producer on this show.
I would say there's a lack of a producer on this show, let alone an executive one.
The production in general on this show is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as like camera cuts.
Which I mean, it's their first show. I get it. That's fine. But how far? This was in 2002. We're in 2015.
Yeah.
It hasn't changed all that much.
Like just like mic issues, and then like I'll get into some of the other ones later, but yeah, it's just you start to see it here that it's like
running live too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you could tell they weren't really ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
after these guys come out, they introduce the gauntlet, and a pissed off Jeff Jarrett comes out because. Defending the title in a Royal Rumble, aka Gauntlet, is a disrespect for the title, and I actually kind of agree.
Jeff Jarrett drops so many truths in this. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. Not only do you agree, so does Ken Shamrock, and so does Scott Hall.
Yes.
Because I noted the 3 top guys say that winning a title in a battle royal sucks. Way to sell it, boys.
Uh-huh. The first booked match in TNA is immediately said to be horrible.
Yeah, they immediately crap on it.
Like
the faces and the heels.
The faces and the heels. Like this is where you go wrong with your product. Like this is how we're opening a new company. Like, Jesus Christ, you guys. Remember when ECW first booked their first show, and then, like, Tommy Dreamer came out and said, oh, this is a shit?
All
right.
Right. Well, Jarrett and Jackie Fargo get into words. I don't think anything important one came out of that. So we go to the back, and there's this girl called Goldilocks.
All right. I have something to say about Goldilocks.
Go ahead.
I think Goldilocks is the beta Velvet Sky.
Yes. However, as I was gonna mention probably later on, Goldilocks is really good at her job.
Yeah, okay, I'll grant you that.
Like interviewing people and facial expressions. Yeah. Velvet Sky, on the other hand, well, she has a cool ring entrance, but that's it.
And who does Goldilocks interview?
Well,
Hold on. Sorg, we know you're watching this. This one's for you, buddy.
yes, because Goldilocks is introducing Puppet the Psycho Dwarf. And let me quote, let's start the show off with midgets because midgets are the true star of this country.
Yep. And Puppet says he wants midget blood.
Midget blood.
Midget blood.
Yeah. This didn't last long because we had a quick cut to big boob girls dancing in cages.
Okay, now I need to mention this. There are a lot of cuts to women dancing in cages. Garza, if you want to guess for the hour and 45-minute runtime of this YouTube show, how many different cuts to women dancing in cages are there? I'm talking camera cuts. I'm not talking like segments of prolonged dancing. I'm talking camera cuts to different women in cages.
I didn't count them, but I'm going to say around 15.
You are very close, sir. There are 16 different
cuts.
camera cuts to women dancing in cages. Now, granted, I believe they only have 2 women dancing.
Yeah, I think it only 2.
So they're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And honestly, they look like the most disinterested strippers I've ever seen in my natural lifetime.
Yeah, you can tell it's the what's left over from the Nitro girls. Like,
I don't even think it's that. I don't even think it's that because I would have recognized some of them. I think it's just someone, and I won't say who, Jeff Jarrett, went to a local establishment and said, hey, who wants to make $100 to be on live TV?
yeah, that's a good possibility too. So let's move on to the first match of the history of TNA, and this match is AJ Styles, Low Key, and Jerry Lynn versus the Flying Elvises, and the Flying Elvises are Jorge Estrada, Jimmy Yang,
or Jimmy Wang Yang.
Yeah, future, and Sonny Siaki, and this was awesome.
Yes, this was actually very
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
I had one note for this match besides it being like this was total nonsense. Like there were no rest holds or nothing like that. Sonny Siaki hated his outfit.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure all 3 of them.
I don't know. Like Jimmy Yang, I'm pretty sure was okay with it. But Sonny Siaki, you can tell he wanted to rip that thing off as soon as he got in the ring. And he realized, oh wait, I can't actually move in this.
Yeah. Hey man, do you have any notes on the AJ Styles, Low Key, Lynn versus Elvis's match?
I thought it was good. I don't know if you guys started to mention, but Don West coming into play here. He's very excited about everything.
Yeah.
Wait, Don West excitable? Are you kidding me, Eamon?
It was the livelihood of TNA for years.
And it's just weird in the sense that it's a very good match because everyone in the match was talented, but like it's kind of dated in the sense like they weren't doing like the stuff you see like high flying athletes kind of do nowadays and have done since then. Like it's not a bad match by any means, but it's just very kind of simple cruiserweight style, and Don West is losing it. Like,
like AJ does a Hurricane Rana, and he's like, "Oh my God, what's that move?"
it's like it's like the equivalency of like Kalisto doing the Selena Del Sol off the ladder from TLC, but for like a Hurricane Rana.
Everything.
For like a spine buster. Like, it was
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I wish that as a kid in this was 2002.
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen this live because, I mean, I see the AJ Styles of today, and he did similar moves in this match. And I've always loved those matches. So I don't know if I would be like super blown away by this match, or if I would have been like, oh, this is like cruiserweight or like heavyweight style wrestling.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure at least 4 out of the 6 guys in this first match were all from WCW.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually,
well, or ECW because Jerry Lynn was in both.
I think everyone except Loki was in WCW.
Was Jorge Estrada? Oh yeah, I'm sure he probably was.
Yeah,
probably on like Saturday night or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because. Yeah. Okay, so we can continue on. They are announcing that.
But I'll also note that the Flying Elvises win the match.
Note that the first person ever pinned in TNA history is AJ Styles.
And also, but they also mentioned that AJ, Loki, and Jerry and Psychosis are going to be in the X Division title match next week. So you have those 3 guys lose to the Flying Elvises.
So let's push them. These guys are going to be in our big, hot, new division, and they lost.
Yeah.
Actually, that was a theme during all the show because you can tell that for every match there's an established gimmick that they want to put over, and then talented guys who they're getting to put the match. Because later on we're gonna have the Dicks defeating.
Hey! Not the Dicks.
No, the Johnsons.
The Johnsons.
We're gonna have the Johnsons.
The Dicks are a completely different tag team that show up in the future from this show.
I bet they're the same tag team. I also note that they after this match they cut to like a wide shot of the crowd or whatever, and you just hear Ed Ferraro go, quote, "Are we going to the ring now, me and Don?" Like, which they owned. Which clearly, like, I guess that, like, I guess there's some executive producer and they can talk to them via the headsets.
No, I think he was just legitimately asking Mike Tenay.
I
think he was just legitimately asking Mike Tenay. Also, when we get to the end of the show, we need to count how many people who are on the first episode of TNA who were on the last episode of TNA, because I think there's only one person.
Well, there's a few, but not as who they are.
Okay.
Okay, so they're announcing that there's going to be an X Division title tournament starting next week. I'm not sure if it's going to be all one show or through several shows, but they announced it. Then we go on to the match that defines the country, according to Puppet, the midget match. Tio versus Hollywood.
And do you know what the first thing Mike Tenay says when this match starts?
What was it?
Well, in NWA-TNA, we promised you a little bit of everything.
I also know that during the match, Mike Tenay starts comparing these guys to Rey Mysterio Jr. Like trying to sell them as like competent athletes.
Now, I have a question. Had Mysterio debuted in WWE at this point? I don't think so, right?
I think he was.
Oh, actually, hold on.
Yeah, I think
what month did this take place in?
June, right?
Okay, yeah. So he definitely had because Ray wrestled Angle at SummerSlam.
I was gonna say he probably was just about to debut.
Yeah,
because Ray wrestled Angle at SummerSlam 2002, so it had to be real close to this.
But like, these guys are terrible wrestlers, even for midgets. Like I know midget wrestling isn't like catch as catch can or anything, but like these guys are awful.
I was gonna say like I'm not fully experienced on reviewing midget wrestling, so I'm not really sure if that was like a 4 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, because I haven't seen much.
Well, I mean, of the midgets I've seen wrestle, this is the worst match I've ever seen.
Okay.
Well, no. I mean, like, because we've seen some stuff in WWE. Like, obviously, Lucha had Masquerade Sagrada.
Right.
Like, I've seen a lot of short sleeve Samson matches. I think he's really interesting. I like watching his matches. Obviously, we had WLC. WLC blows this shit out of the water.
Yeah. Hornswoggle is like Kurt Angle against these guys. But hey, the people were into it, so I guess we'll give them that.
Okay.
No.
We're gonna say that a lot for this show, but keep in mind this is Huntsville, like.
And keep in mind, these people are into NASCAR, so they like driving in circles.
Oh, well.
They like driving in circles, and they hate the black man.
We'll get to that.
And I say the black man because there's only one.
We'll come to that in a little bit. But next we have Ed Ferreira and Don West, and they're announcing the match of the year, a lingerie battle royal. And as you know it,
hashtag
the
Demon
dudes,
Revolution.
Yeah, as you know, the dudes in the arena popped hard for it.
I just noted with the lingerie battle royal thing and midget match one after another. God, we've come a long way in 2015.
Yes.
You know, it's things like this that make me appreciate Sheamus versus Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And you guys know how much I love Sheamus versus.
Keep in mind. Okay, so they start to introduce these girls, and then they start to have like the production issues again, where they would pan to one girl just standing there, and when they're introducing someone completely different, and you barely know who any of these girls are, so it's like so hard to keep track of.
Let me go through the list that I did. I have Francine, Miss Joni, Daphne.
Now hold on. Do any of these other people have other names? I know some of them do.
Half of these people, though, I don't think had any wrestling experience.
Yeah. Oh, I'm very sure of that.
Because we have auxiliary Aaron, who I thought they said it was a cheerleader.
Yeah, they said it was a Baltimore Ravens cheerleader.
Yeah.
When they said Baltimore Ravens cheerleader, I'm like, oh shit, they got Stacey Keebler. And then I'm like, no, wait. No, they didn't.
She had already debuted for WWE.
Yeah.
Elektra, Tyler B. something, and then two girls that didn't catch their names.
Hey, did you say Daphne?
Yes, Daphne.
Well, Daphne, they say they say
call her Shannon. But...
call her Shannon.
Yeah.
It's just like generic women's names, and you get so lost in like who everyone is.
Although I have to say, sub 2002 Mickie James.
Yeah. But like her, Daphne, and then like Francie and Elektra, I think are the only ones that have like actual wrestling experience.
Yes.
And two of them aren't.
I was gonna say Francie and Elektra. It's
aren't wrestlers.
Really limited.
Yeah.
Like I would have preferred Beulah over Francine, for God's sakes.
This is
Yeah. So Francine cut a small fat promo on the ladies and Elektra fired. There were supposed to be boobies, but I did not see boobies. So.
Elektra also claimed, what starts the catfight is Elektra telling Francine that she bankrupted ECW, which makes no sense.
Yeah, and also that there's no extreme in the name of this company. Yes, but there is TNA.
Oh, man.
Like, also, I have to say, before we get to Don West copping all of the feels on Elektra, there was a guy in the crowd who, when they were showing all the women, a guy, I'm not sure what his intent was, but he flashed his bare chest. I'm not sure if he was trying to just be a jackass on television, or if he thought that would make the women be like, oh God, maybe we should do that too.
I'm voting for the latter.
Okay, while we were all watching this show, I was sending Mike and Tonio and everyone else on the show clips of different people in the crowd doing different things. It really is a testament to Alabama.
The crowd. This crowd reminds me of a time when I was working at WWE, and I was watching an old NWA show from the mid-'80s, and they introduced someone who was billed as from Alabama or Tennessee or somewhere in the South, and they just show to a redneck kid, like with his face painted bright red, and he just screams at the face, "Hey, you go back to the north!"
Oh.
And the kid was like 12 years old, and oh god, like it just reminded me of that, and I'm like, I forgive Brooklyn from last night.
Yeah, this really makes everything.
I forgive Brooklyn from last night.
It really makes every like thing seem so much better in retrospect.
Yeah, like they make the ECW arena look classy.
They make the ECW arena look like Spago after a Broadway show.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I just noted after that, do you really have to pan to the cage dancers in between every segment?
Yes.
Yeah. By the way, Eamon, I believe you were muted for this. Did you hear how many pans to the different cuts to cage dancers there were on the show?
No, I didn't.
Okay, take a guess.
I'm gonna say 15.
That was Garza's guess too, and you were so close. It's 16 times.
They all the women on the show, like, not to knock them, but I mean, like, Daffy and stuff are different, but like they mostly look the same. And we have like other women appear on the show in like side roles, and they like all look the same, and they're not like super attractive. You know what I mean? They're not like, you know what I mean? Like,
I felt bad because Mickie James looked really awkward in there.
yeah.
Like she did not know what was going on, but she
Daphne and
she was
Mickie
getting
James.
major.
Daphne and Mickie James were awkward.
Well, Daphne has been on live TV before, so she was just trying to stand out, which I don't blame her for. It worked because she's Daphne and she's awesome. But everyone else just looks so out of place.
Mm.
Even Francine, who you can tell
Is getting a paycheck.
Kind of forgot how to cut a promo.
Yeah. Well, it's just generic, and it's just like,
Yeah.
What more can you what more can you do?
Yeah.
All right, so we cut to the back and we have Mortimer Plumtree, and he's going to tease a tag team that owe him everything, and that was pretty much it.
Just to sum up, I wrote a note that sum up this backstage interview as far as the storyline goes. I just wrote, a cricket-playing nerd has enslaved two jocks dressed as penises. Take notes, people.
Yep.
Now, what is a Mortimer Plumtree? Do we know? Like, I'm looking up his Wikipedia. I see he's been in wrestling a long time. I've still never heard of him.
Yeah, me either. And
I believe, if I'm correct in my TNA history as well, he would go on to manage AJ Styles to the X Division title.
yes.
Yes,
That's where I remember him from.
You are correct.
Like,
That's the only memory I have of him from.
like this is at least like the idea of him is somewhat interesting, because they kind of hinted to, like, he's basically controlling these two guys that used to bully him in school or whatever, which I guess is kind of an interesting story. But like to just introduce that like just out of nowhere with like no like lead up, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that we get tonight. We get stables and tag teams of people that we're just supposed to like know why they're together. Like
Yeah.
why are the Flying Elvises?
we'll get into later with James Mitchell's stable. It's like, oh, these people are together. Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing I didn't get, and I wonder if this is just current TNA's problem, they're referencing past shows.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're referencing like old like NWA shows. Like,
I'm not sure what they're referencing, but they're referencing a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, we don't know this stuff.
yeah.
But all right, anyway, yeah, Mortimer Plumtree.
Yeah. So
I just pictured him as Chris Nowinski. Is that bad?
Kinda. I mean,
no, it's not hard.
but he also likes cricket. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Well, I mean, he went to Harvard. Who doesn't play cricket at Harvard? What else do you do there?
Okay, this is going to lead us into a match of the Johnsons with Mortimer Plumtree versus Psychosis and Cowboy Jame Storm.
Quickly, I noted for these two, Psychosis is dressed as a strip club's love seat.
Which was the style at the time.
Bravo, Eamon.
And then I also know that Jame Storm should bring back those fake guns.
Jame Storm should also bring back the beardlessness.
Oh.
He looks like a different person.
He looks fatter. Like he looked fatter back then. Like I don't know if it's just because he had like this short hair and like he seemed pudgier to me.
I don't know. I kind of like the look.
But no, yeah, bring back because for those that didn't see it, he has basically guns that he shoots off, and they basically shoot pyro.
Yeah, well, it's the old smoking guns gimmick.
Yeah.
But also I had to note when they're showing the intro of the Johnsons, which are two guys dressed as penises, in giant flesh-colored onesies. Do you know what the camera cuts to? Right away. Little children. Little children. That's what the camera cuts to, and it's the only time that we're showed little children are watching this. Not during, like Scott Hall, like, hey, kids like Razor Ramon. No. During the Johnsons, when I didn't even count the amount of dick jokes that were made.
Honestly,
the commentary, well, they kind of make some, like the Johnsons have like something about Johnsons having legs or something like that.
And the Johnsons are rock hard.
Stuff like that. But like also they try to sell them as being like the actual threats. Like they didn't know whether to just treat them as straight comedy acts or like to take them seriously. It was very weird.
I made a note that those guys look really, really big, so if they really wanted to put them over, like they could have really made a really comparable team out of them without the costumes.
I need to look up who they are because it's like
I believe they're called the Shane Twins. Which is okay. I knew I recognized them. Do you remember Jim? No. Their physicality. I recognized it. Do you remember Jim and I?
Yeah.
Oh, it's really?
That's them. That's them.
Oh.
I was trying to think because I'm like, I know these aren't the dicks because that's too perfect.
How is that funny? How is it so funny? They were technically in the same era as.
I know they're not the dicks, but I'm like, I recognize like what these guys look like, and yeah, Jim and I, the fucking Jim and I.
Speaking of some of the stuff you mentioned, like. Also, not to jump on you, Tonio, but
and also, hold on. The Shane Twins are no longer active in professional wrestling, and currently work as bouncers at the 2001 Space Odyssey Club in Tampa, Florida.
Amazing. But just to also know about that match, so a woman comes to ringside.
Yes. I have Alicia. That's her name.
They say her name is Alicia, and the quote is, "This is Alicia. We've seen her in WCW and the WWF." What?
We've seen her with the Maestro.
Well, I believe they said she was with the Maestro in WCW, but they don't mention what she did in WWF. I think that's supposed to be Ryan Shamrock.
Is it? Oh man! All right,
That's the only one I can think of, like that looks vaguely like her. And
actually, I think you're right.
And I guess they didn't want to mention, that was Ryan Shamrock in the WWF because
they
got Ken on the show.
You are entirely correct. And her name, thanks to Wikipedia, I found out how they spell her name in this. It's Aleesha.
That's not how you spell Alicia.
Nope, that's not even close.
But that's the weird thing with this, is like they'll mention they'll mention the past stuff, but it's like almost breaking kayfabe. Like your first night in, they're being like, this person was, the Maestro's, symphony or whatever. This person also did other stuff here. They're doing completely different stuff now.
Oh yeah, Eamon, they break kayfabe all the time during this match. This is the first time they say swerve.
Oh, I guess that.
Because the Johnsons might try to swerve the referee by tagging in and out. And also, they just basically said what Psychosis's real name is.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you know what? Hey, remember that guy Undertaker? Yeah, he's also known as Mark Calloway. Go figure.
That's that weird 1999 period where he was like wasn't Biker Taker but kind of was Biker Taker.
Yeah, it's just like Mark, angry Mark.
Booger Red.
Booger Red. Oh Jesus. But,
Okay, so for some reason the ref paid Alicia after the match. I think we are
do
all
you know
clueless
why?
on that.
You know why? I have a theory. Do you know who that ref was?
Well, it's not Nick
Well,
Patrick, so.
That was Slick Johnson.
God, Slick Johnson's been important for the
I fucking hate Slick Johnson. At least he wore goddamn pants.
Yeah.
I also just noted that the longest running TNA wrestler's first match in TNA was getting beat by two dick men.
I was gonna say, yeah, the second person to ever be pinned in TNA is Jame Storm.
Also, besides the main, not to spoil the rest of the card, but besides the main event, all the heels go over tonight.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that was the note I was making earlier, that you have all this established like gimmicks they want to put over like a bunch of guys that are eventually going to be the future of TNA and wrestling, I guess. Because well, after this we go into a backstage segment with a Hillbilly team.
Okay, I didn't. All right, I didn't know who these guys were.
One of them's Trevor Murdoch.
I legitimately asked, are these the Briscoes? Legitimately, like I knew I was like 97% sure that neither of them were a Briscoe, but I was still curious because I'm like, it looks accurate.
One of them's like I said, one of them's Trevor Murdoch.
Yeah, I thought one of them looked like Trevor Murdoch, and I'm like, there's no way that's young Trevor Murdoch. And I'm like, is the other one Mark Briscoe?
I don't know.
Surprised.
I have no clue who the other one is. But it's Stand Up.
Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
Stand up, hold up.
Oh my god! Oh my god! TNA is a flat circle! 2015 Drew Galloway, stand up! TNA is a Mobius strip! Oh my god! We are through the looking glass, people!
That's the one thing I'll never get about like WCW/TNA is like their affinity with pun names.
Hey, well, WWE has their share.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loves puns.
Not
Everyone loves puns, except for DJ Lunchbox.
But they basically so they try to drink or whatever in the locker room, and then some official, I can't remember who, comes up to him. Okay, and he says, "quote, we don't want any intoxicated wrestlers out in our ring." And I just noted, Scott Hall is here, right?
I have the same note. I have the same exact note written down. I'm like, the official warns people about drinking wrestlers. Like, Scott Hall's already been on the show.
Did we also know what their girlfriend / cousin's name is?
Yes, it had Fluff.
Fluffed up. Fluffed up. Get it? Get it? Fluffed up. Because that's the thing. Although I don't get bowed up. Bowed up is not a pun.
Like bowed, like it doesn't like bode well, but it's not even. I don't know.
No, it's not even, like they're either trying to do Dukes of Hazzard, or they're trying to do pun names, but they can't do both.
But and maybe I'm wrong because I didn't really watch Dukes of Hazzard, but like Dukes of Hazzard plus the overtone of incest.
Yeah.
Like, they're just basically, and the announcers are just like, that's their cousin, who they also sleep with.
Although, there was a pretty good line in commentary, like, I wonder what their family tree looks like. It's probably a stump. That's a great line.
That's an Ferrari line.
It's a great line, yeah.
I can't give them that.
I mean, it's also a Jeff Foxworthy joke. If your family tree does not fork, you might be a dup.
Can we? Okay, so we've got the midget stuff. We've got the women's stuff. We've got incest. Can we get to the racist stuff now?
But
Yes.
yeah. First, before we get to the racist, guess what we have to get to, Eamon?
What?
Room!
Apparently, okay, so Hermie Sadler and some other guy who I literally don't know who he is.
Sterling Marley.
And he placed in something, or he's gonna place in some. I just noted.
He's really good at turning left. ...
I know nothing about NASCAR.
Oh God! Like, if you ever wanted to not be inclusive,
This is a very
that's the way to
Tennessee.
go.
This is a very Tennessee show.
Oh man, yeah, Hermie Sadler, who ironically will make more appearances in TNA in the future.
Many more appearances for many years.
Yeah, way too many. But yeah, they come out and they're talking about being athletes. They drive cars. I'm sorry. I agree with K Crush here. Because that's who comes out.
I mean, Kay Crush is right. He really wanted to sort of educate people on the fact that wrestlers are athletes. He did so by saying, "quote We do arm drops, we do leg drops."
Mm-hmm. And I like how we automatically go to my type. We shoot basketballs. We throw touchdowns. I'm like, oh, this is where we're going. Okay. And then if you pause it right there and do a quick scan of the crowd,
Oh.
he's in the wrong neighborhood.
So
he's on the wrong side of the Mason-Dixon.
So Hermie Sadler basically starts to mouth off back at Kay Crush and talks about how Nashville, Tennessee loves NASCAR. To which Mike Tenay just yells, "Testify!"
Like,
Jesus.
if they love NASCAR that much, why are they at a wrestling show?
Yeah.
They should probably go see some NASCAR. And then, cause you're in Tennessee when someone from the Lawler family shows up.
I'm Mickey Mouse.
He didn't even bother to change his ring gear.
Well, also, they don't know whether to call him Brian Christopher or Brian Lawler.
But they have no qualms of saying, "Oh, you know him as Grandmaster Sexay."
But that's the thing. Mike Tenay calls him Brian Christopher, but Ed Ferrara keeps calling him Brian Lawler.
Yep. That, I think, wasn't this the point where like they were really estranged and he didn't want to be called Brian Lawler? He really didn't want to be known as Jerry Lawler's kid.
I hope it was until that. Was it before or after he released the song Jabroni?
Yeah, but
after that, that's when Brian calls K Crush your people.
Mm-hmm. And I want to point out that Brian Christopher Lawler looks worse than every single legend they brought out earlier in the night. Oh God! All right,
Alrighty.
Yeah.
After that, we go to the backstage, and we're having Jeff Jarrett and Jackie Fargo pull apart for some reason.
Because Jackie Fargo's the #1 face in TNA.
Yeah, actually, he was the most excited.
You think I'm joking? I'm not. That's just where we are. Like, it's not even that they're pulling a name from WCW to be a #1 face. That I'd be okay with. They're pulling a name from the 50s.
And well, the only selling point of the whole thing is that Jackie Fargo was the originator of like the strut or whatever. Like, but Jeff Jarrett, like, I don't know.
And I'm sure someone strutted before Jackie Fargo too.
Yeah.
I'd almost guarantee it.
Right. We go back to the ring, and we have the Dubs of Stan and Both Up with Fluffed Up versus Joey Matthews and Christian York.
Oh no! I just got the pun.
What?
Bowen stand up. Bowen stand up.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, that's great. This match happens. I don't remember anything of it.
I think I was still shocked that a woman's name was Fluff.
Like, what conceivable world does that person get named?
Hey, you know what? Let's bring a manager into this. Oh, but she's kind of just there for a side treatment. What should we call her? Oh, I know, Fluff. Because that's all the women are in this product. They're fluff. They're fluff. They literally are.
There's literally like 15 women on this show, and I'm not even counting like the dancers. But none of them are actually competent, really.
Hashtag Divas Revolution. It was just awful.
So after that third match of the night of this 2-hour-long show, we then get treated to what feels like a 5-minute Toby Keith music video.
And all right, I'm not a country fan. Shocker. That Toby Keith music video makes him look like a complete douchebag. If you listen to the lyrics of that song, which I know you really shouldn't do with country songs, but the music video they showed is basically him rubbing it in someone's face that he's rich and famous now.
Is that what the story was? I don't.
Oh yeah.
I didn't pay attention.
The song's called "Look at Me Now" or whatever the fuck it was. But then, and then, not only do we get a good portion of a Toby Keith music video, we get a fucking live performance.
I just love
a different song.
The angry American. I just love that this show is called Total Nonstop Action, and they're really selling the whole night that it's total nonstop action. And we've had them talking to NASCAR guys, and then like what feels like 10 minutes of music.
Mm-hmm. I muted the TV at this point and just played the South Park song, "Where Were You When They Built a Ladder to Heaven?"
Like it's basically the song is "We're America and we're gonna kick your ass."
Yeah.
It's to get out of our country.
Badoo, badoo.
It's awful.
And then Jame Storm came out with his fake guns. I wish. That would have been amazing. But someone does come out. Don't they, Garza?
Yep, Jeff Jarrett comes out, pushes Toby Keith and talks shit.
I don't get this.
Keith wanted to fight.
But Jeff Jarrett, the most southern person on the show, hates Toby Keith.
I would also like to point out, I've been watching wrestling for a long time. This is the first time I was ever legitimately happy to see Jeff Jarrett. The first time. It had to happen. It had to happen eventually. This is where it happened, because he interrupted a country music star. So thank you, Jeff.
Yep. He just wanted to start the match and win his title. Which brings us to the main event.
The gauntlet for the gold, everybody.
The fourth match on this show.
I'd like to start out that TNA started with their title being vacated.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah, I get it. I get it. But
I guess, but I think it's funny how far we've come.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
See? 15 years later, or 13 years later, title's still vacant. Still vacant, yes.
But yeah. So who do we get starting off this gauntlet?
So number one spot is Jeff Jarrett. Do you want me to run over all the names or one by one?
Well, go to the next one, because after that person gets eliminated, I want to know something.
Number 2, Bob Bagwell.
and
number 3.
I was gonna say,
hold on. For Buff Bagwell, he comes out, and I hadn't seen Buff Bagwell in a while, and they said, oh, Buff Bagwell, he was injured by Rick Steiner back in WCW, and guess what, you guys? Rick Steiner's in this match. They're building up the commentary. They're building up feuds. They're establishing, hey, there might be a rivalry, and Buff Bagwell's eliminated.
I love. By the way, this is Buff Bagwell right off the cusp of being fired by the WWF because his mom called Jim Ross to complain about her son was being treated. This is the part where things go awry again in the production.
This is the part?
Again. Because Buff Bagwell gets eliminated. When he gets eliminated, the clock's at like 20 seconds, and then it resets back to 90.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then someone else just comes out.
Oh, and do you know who that someone else is, Eamon?
Oh, is it the Raging Cajun?
Corporal Cajun himself, Lash LaRue!
Okay, but that's the thing. So, Raging Cajun gets eliminated. There's still like 18 seconds left on the clock. And then someone just comes out. Like, they don't, like, I think they thought that, like, the gauntlet match meant, like, if everyone's eliminated, then you just bring out the next guy.
Well, see, in a traditional gauntlet match, that is the case. But it's kind of like they realized this is going long. Yeah. And there are several points where I think they just realized, oh, wow, we need to shorten this match length.
Oh, wow, we just gave 10 minutes to Toby Keith.
And the fourth guy out is Apollo, right?
No, fourth guy is Norman Smiley.
Oh, God.
WWE Performance Center coach Norman Smiley.
Former unofficial mascot of the Wrestling Mayhem show, Norman Smiley.
Yes. We got eliminated quite easily, too. And that brings to number 5, Gran Apollo.
There it is. Who the fuck is this guy?
They say he's from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
He was the IWA champion in Puerto Rico. I think he stayed in TNA for like a couple years, like until like they go to like Spike, I think.
Honestly, I did not recognize him at all.
I mean, he's big.
Okay.
Yeah. When I say that, I mean he's big in size. He never really did much. But who do we have after that?
Next one we have K-Crush, a.k.a. Ron Killens, a.k.a. K-Quick.
A.k.a. R-Truth.
Nothing really noteworthy at this point because they're starting to pile up. After this, we have Slash with James Mitchell.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Okay, so Slash comes out with James Mitchell, and then they're just like Slash, who they say used to be a WWF, but like I don't know who he was in WWF.
Oh my God! All right, and I had that same note because I wanted to look it up. Do you know who he was, Eamon?
No. Was he like one of the headbangers?
You know, I thought that initially. It's worse. Wolfie D.
Oh, PG-13.
Oh, okay.
He's half of PG-13.
But that's the thing. Okay, so he comes out with James Mitchell, and they're like, that's Slash, with one member of James Mitchell's Disciples of the New Church. Like, you can't just introduce that out of nowhere.
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they accept a new church in Tennessee.
Well, that's the thing, and then JR goes, it's like, that's not a church you would see, you'd be going to on Easter Sunday. Did I say JR said that? I mean
You
Don
said
West.
JR!
I mean Don West.
Oh, I want to hear JR do commentary on this.
I mean,
It's close. You're in Oklahoma.
But yeah, Don West said it. But yeah, it's like you can't just introduce something like that, like with no backstory.
Nope, you can't do that.
So
Especially
next,
when you bring up James Mitchell, like from WCW and all that stuff. Like,
yeah.
are you saying that's continuing a storyline that he was doing in WCW? Because it's not.
Next
Okay.
spot is not Alberto, but he is called Del Rios.
I know my note says, "Hey guys, it's Scott Steiner, Del Rios."
So wait, that wasn't really Scott Steiner, right?
That wasn't really Scott Steiner. That person, they don't note this on commentary, is a former WWF wrestler. You know who he wrestled as?
Scott Steiner.
No. Do you remember? Was it Phantasmo or Phantasmo or whatever? The magician guy.
Yes.
That's him.
Oh my god!
And I looked it up on Wikipedia. This is the debut of like that like look and gimmick and stuff like that, which is just Scott Steiner.
It literally is Scott
Down
Steiner.
down to the Superman logo on his tights, down to the fact that he does like belly to belly suplexes just like Scott Steiner.
The two-tone.
black.
Yeah.
The black.
Yeah, are they shooting on Scott Steiner? Like, what is happening?
My guess is, oh wait, Scott Steiner probably had already signed with WWE.
Oh, maybe.
Yes.
Because Scott Steiner debuted at Survivor Series 2002.
You know,
I bet he had just signed.
and if
And
you
he was supposed to be on this show with Rick Steiner. Oh,
I was
that
gonna
had
say,
to be it.
if you look at the TNA roster, you knew Scott Steiner was just a fit for that. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing.
I'd also like to point out, TNA ripped this off later with P.D. Williams.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
This guy never. This is the first time he ever does this look gimmick kind of style thing, and then he never does it again.
I guarantee it was just to make people think
That's Scott Steiner.
that Scott Steiner was in this match.
What?
It's one of those things you don't realize it's bad until you see it on tape.
It was not good.
Like, he was better at being fake Scott Steiner than Kane was at being fake Diesel.
He was better at
That's
being
true.
fake Scott Steiner than Scott Steiner was at being Scott Steiner.
Yeah, like, he literally did the belly-to-belly suplexes, like, just like Steiner.
Yeah. In other words, he didn't give a fuck if people landed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I'm gonna throw you. You flip however you goddamn well want to.
Our next spot goes to the most generic name in the tournament, I can call it, and it's Justice.
The other TNA original that's still around, because that's Abyss, basically.
Yeah.
No!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Oh
that's-
shit,
that's
I
for
didn't know
Joseph.
that! Oh my god. Okay, I did not... Because I was looking, I'm like, alright, we've had Jame Storm, and we'll have another TNA original in a few.
No, man.
I'm like, where the fuck is Abyss? And, oh my god, alright.
He won't appear as
kinda have
Abyss.
to-
He
yeah.
won't appear as Abyss for like another, like, I think, like, year and a half or something. But,
Okay.
like, yeah.
Okay. Because something looked vaguely familiar about him, but I couldn't place it. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That was Chris
Okay,
Joseph. Next number, who I thought was the MVP of the whole gauntlet, Conan.
Okay, I literally wrote, Conan comes out and I start to pray Pentagon Jr. is next.
This was a young Conan who was doing flips, kicks, punch, and he was amazing.
He was still bowdy and rowdy.
Yep.
And he still did not know how to wear pants.
And I love that they're just randomly trying to sell these like kind of mid-level people from like the mid-90s or whatever. They're like, he beat Chris Jericho once.
Oh, and they won't stop with that, Eamon.
Next name, okay, it's probably even more generic. Bruce.
Okay, so
With Lenny Lane.
and with Joel
And Joel
Gerber.
Gerner. Yeah, and Joel Gerner.
And that's why I noted catfighting women, midgets, incest, racism, and now the Rainbow Express. Man, we got all the shitty parts of the spectrum covered. Like, it's a gay gimmick in Tennessee. Let's do it.
Now, they mentioned the Rainbow Express, yet we only see one member of the Rainbow Express.
Well, no, that's the other
You
thing.
mentioned-
That's the other thing that they said the Rainbow Express is Lenny. Well, Lenny Lane comes out with him, I believe. But they say the Rainbow Express is Lenny Lane and Lodi.
Right.
But Lodi was injured, so Bruce is a replacement member. This is your first show.
Like, why not just have Lenny Lane wrestle? People know who Lenny Lane is.
Why not just say, hey, Lenny and Bruce are the Rainbow Express, and not go, Lenny and Lodi are the Rainbow Express, but we have Bruce here as a replacement? You've only had one show.
There's just so much wrong with this.
Yeah, and I just noted, man, we are sure introducing a lot of teams and stables with zero backstory.
Hmm. It's almost like when I watched Ring of Honor for the first time.
You're like, who's these guys?
Yeah, like, why does Red Dragon have a capital D and a capital R in their name?
Hey, except with Ring of Honor, you can go back. Here we have nowhere
there's nothing.
to go back.
There's nothing to go back on.
Nothing.
Yeah. Next number, Rick Steiner.
Which gets a good pop. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
Probably
mean,
one of the most
his brother's already in the match, guys.
Yeah. Then we have Malice, who is supposed to be tag team of Slash.
Tag team with Slash, also the Wall from WCW.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. And
Which he
also-
looks nothing like. Like
no, he doesn't.
He's got more, now he's like tattooed out and then has like weird like scraggly hair.
Malice looks like a fusion dance of Sid and Tyson Tomko.
A little bit, yeah.
I was gonna say Sid and Gunner, but yeah.
And he,
Oh, well, I mean, let's be honest. Gunner is basically Tyson Tomko.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say Malice kind of fell the same fate of Tyson Tomko in life, but
Wait, Malice is in jail now?
well, he's dead. But
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow!
just bring that down.
Awesome. Also, Malice is what I like to call the match shortener. Because he literally comes in and throws out 5 people.
I actually didn't mind him. I thought they kind of selling him as like a important guy, and they kind of like, especially like later on, like I kind of believed it.
Yeah,
I bought into it.
Looking at who was the last two, like it kind of makes sense at this point. I didn't know who Malice was at this point, but at the end I was like, yeah, I can see the hype of this guy now.
Well, I mean, given the last 5 guys, that's really the only other one you could have had in there.
Yeah.
Because if you just had like a rematch from your WWF or WCW, what the fuck was the point of that?
Hey, you could have had Ken Shamrock versus Toby Keith. Okay, so before we get to Toby Keith, we have a Chico Scott Hall, who actually looked in shape.
He didn't look too bad.
It didn't look
Yeah.
too horrible.
He looked pretty good.
Well,
He was still,
wasn't this fresh from the NWO?
No,
yeah, you're
just
right.
before.
No, the NWO returning.
Actually, yeah, this would probably be like right around the time he got released.
Okay, yeah, because this is June AWO, and then
He probably got released,
WrestleMania.
and he wrestled at Mania and then got released like shortly after.
Yeah.
So maybe like a couple months.
Yep. Scott Hall. Then we have Toby Keith, who makes Mike TNA mark out.
Which is really okay. So they're confused whether to like the announcers are confused if he's like an actual entrant or if he's just coming in, because the buzzer hits and Toby Keith comes out, but nobody else comes out. So they're like, oh, Toby Keith's running the entrance.
And Scott Hall is welcoming him into the ring. Like,
Yeah.
Scott Hall's like, hey, hurry it up, man.
Hey, here's your spot.
Okay, Toby Keith, and then we go to Wildcat Chris
Well,
Harris.
hold on. Toby Keith eliminates Jeff Jarrett. The only heel in the entire company to get a reaction. You can get that heat on a new guy or someone you want to push. No. Just no.
I slightly get it, like, because I don't follow country, but I know Toby Keith's like supposed to be like a big, at least in country, like he's a big celebrity.
Well, post 9/11, Toby Keith was huge.
Yeah, and like,
If you look at the song segment, he had the biggest pop of the night.
like Toby Keith to country would be the equivalent of like, I guess like Flo Rida. I don't know.
Right up to what? What exactly?
Flo Rida to Florida.
I'm trying to make a modern reference. I don't know. But yeah.
But I still, like, I understand they wanted to have a big celebrity interaction, but don't have Toby Keith actually eliminate, because Toby Keith, if he was a part of the match, he was technically never eliminated.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They don't know if he's a part of the match. And then I guess he's not a part.
There's 2 people who come out in succession after him.
And I'm assuming that he like came out before Vampire Warrior was supposed to come out or something, and like basically took it because Vampire Warrior just comes out, you know, without and without the thing
Yeah.
going and him being announced.
All right, can we not call him Vampire Warrior?
You can't call him can't call him Gangrel.
Oh, fuck that. I'm calling him Gangrel. I'm calling him Vampire Warrior. Sounds like the worst show on the CW. But before Gangrel comes out, Garza, who comes out?
Wildcat Chris Harris.
Braden Walker, baby.
Okay, I literally note here. I note that the Wall, to spoil a later entry, the Wall, Crowbar, Braden Walker, Gangrel, Razor Ramon, Ken Shamrock, and Grandmaster Sexy are fighting to be the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. What is happening?
Oh man, yeah, because after Gangrel is Crowbar, right?
Dangerous Devin Storm.
All right. At this point, I'd like to point out, TNA has 2 people with the last name of Storm, and 3 people with the last name of Johnson. They've had an hour into their show. Already they're reusing names.
Wait, did we say who they said the Johnsons' names were? Because they at the end of the
Rick
match,
and Rod.
Rick and Rod.
Richard Rod.
Rick, Rod, and Slick.
Who's next after Devin Storm, Tonio?
Oh, it's Mike's favorite commentator, Steve Carino.
Super kick!
Fuck you both. The first note I put, Carino better not grab a microphone or hit a super kick.
He hits like a boot in the corner. It's kind of like it.
No, he kind of hit a boot in the corner. Watch that again. He missed completely.
Steve Carino, and I didn't know he was going to be a part of this. And the minute he came out, I started laughing my ass off because I knew Mike was going to be watching this. And then I also just noted Steve Carino at one point totally no-sells a punch from Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like in his own spot like that.
He goes off the ropes to do something. Scott Hall just punches him, and then he just decides to go, no, I'm going to no-sell and hit the ropes and hit someone.
See, the funny thing is, I actually like Steve Carino as a wrestler. I enjoyed his stuff as a wrestler, especially in ECW. He was really good.
Out of all the people in this match, he seemed the most youthful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, out of all the people in this match, he's the guy I would have wanted to win.
Keep in mind
that includes guys like R-Truth and Wildcat Chris Harris.
Side note: this is Steve Carino's first and last appearance in TNA.
Yes, I think so too.
And I'm assuming because he no-sold that punch.
Okay, so after Steve Carino, out comes Cam Shamrock.
Which is great because in the beginning of the show, they teased the whole big Shamrock Jarrett interaction and nothing.
Yeah, I will say I mentioned Steve Carino looking youthful. Shamrock looks pretty good in this.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Physically, facial hair wise, not so much.
Yeah, he's a little rugged. He also Mike Tenay keeps saying that he won the UFC Super Championship or something like that. I don't think he as for someone who's the professor. I don't think that's what it's called, Mike.
I don't think that's what it was either.
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. And the last participant in this gauntlet for the NWA World Championship, the man we all been waiting for, Brian Christopher.
I think at this point, I wrote a note. One of these guys is gonna be NWA champ. These guys. It's just I don't even know. It's sad.
So weird.
It's sad. They did not have one legit big name for this show.
Their biggest name is Jeff Jarrett.
Or Scott Hall.
2002, I guess Shamrock was still kind of big. And from all those guys, I think there were 20 guys, I think Ken Shamrock was the best option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
I was gonna say you could put it on Jarrett, but then all the heels sweep the show.
Honestly, I would have put it on Scott Hall.
You think you could trust Scott Hall though?
I don't think you have to. You can take it off him the next show. I think the notoriety of Scott Hall finally winning a world title would have been better than Ken Shamrock.
I was shocked that Scott Hall even got like cleanly eliminated in the battle royal. Because I'm sorry, like I get so used, like anytime I see any of the outsiders or any of that stuff, you immediately go to creative control and you think like, oh, he's gonna, whatever. But I don't know. But yeah.
Well, if you had to worry about that problem with anyone, it's Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Well, the last elimination was Malice eliminating Scott Hall, and this takes us to the NWA World Title Championship match with special guest referee Ricky Steamboat. It's Ken Shamrock versus Malice with James Mitchell.
Which, by the way, Ricky Steamboat refereeing this now doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess the feuds with Jarrett's with Jackie Fargo. But,
Yeah.
I don't know. I noted one positive thing about this section. I said that choke slam cross arm breaker counter was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wish that's how the match ended.
I also want to point out, Ricky Steamboat's a horrible referee.
Oh, I did. I noted Steamboat is a terrible referee. At one point, he gives Shamrock a 7 count in the ropes.
Yes, and also Malice grabs the ropes from an ankle lock, and Ricky's like, "Oh no, you can keep it on. It's fine."
Well, he like doesn't know what to do, and then he starts counting, but then Shamrock's not breaking at 5, so he just keeps counting.
Mm-hmm.
And then he eventually pulls Shamrock off.
I think Shamrock thinks he's in UFC.
But also Steamboat should know, like, he's
Ricky Steamboat.
He's one of the most effective wrestlers.
No, I blame Ken Shamrock for this because I think he expected he was doing the slowest goddamn count in history, like 1, 2, like you're gonna break, right? 3, you're gonna break this hold, right? 4,
Unless
you're gonna break this fucking hold, right?
But like they like showed some dissension or whatever, where they were like kind of like getting in each other's face. Like I would think that if you would do that, you would at least get to 5, and then you would pull Shamrock off the hold.
Yeah.
And that's when you would do the thing. But Steamboat keeps counting.
I've always thought Ken Shamrock had some kind of PTSD when he was wrestling.
I like that gimmick. Like I like that he was unhinged.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it was a gimmick though. Like I legitimately think that at some points he just forgot he was in a fake fight.
Yeah. I just note the psychology of this last match of the whole match is non-existent. Shamrock's the baby face, but Malice didn't get in any offense.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would think if Shamrock's the baby face and Malice, especially if he's this big killer, like he should be working over Shamrock and Shamrock should be trying to fight up or whatever. But Shamrock just puts him in a bunch of holds and then hits him with a belly suplex and beats him.
My note was that this was pretty much a good small guy versus the big guy. So I kind of understood why it wasn't just Malice destroying Shamrock. But I see what you're saying. The match lasted 6 minutes, and they did the best they could, I guess.
World title match. 6 minutes.
Well, it was a gauntlet match, but
Here's the thing: is that you can make those kind of style of matches interesting, or you can just punch each other a lot. And this was one of the matches where they just punch each other a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I dozed off at the point when Conan came into the ring. I'm pretty sure like I missed 2 entrances. It was just like there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Like these guys are just waiting for someone to come out and start eliminating people.
So Shamrock wins the belt, celebrating. There's pyro and stuff like that. Steamboat raises his hand, all that stuff. And then we go to the announcers to like close the show, which is a thing TNA will do, which is I find really weird. Like the main event will happen, and then they'll go to Mike Tenay and Don West or whatever to like kind of wrap things up and be like, "Good night, everybody." I just noted we close with Ed Ferrara calling Malice the Wall, and then making a Special Olympics retarded joke. Good night, everybody.
Yep, and he
like it was. He said it, and Mike Tenay legitimately sounded disgusted.
Yep.
Like he was like, really?
But that's not the end.
That's not the end. Jeff Jarrett comes out, and he's talking shit, which brings out Fargo and Keith.
Jeff Jarrett is again saying the main event of this show was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still agree. And Fargo, since he doesn't want to get it fired because he's old, brings out Scott Hall. Red Shadow being eliminated.
And then I just noted, my last note here is, man, this really is the Jeff Jarrett show.
Mm-hmm. My last note is, it's a good thing they never asked Ric Flair if he won a world title in a battle royal.
Because he did.
Yeah.
And now I kind of want to look in TNA's history to see if anyone else has won a world title in a battle royal.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I'm pretty sure they have.
Yeah, it's happened a lot.
Here's the thing. Right?
Is it any worse than winning a title by climbing a ladder and hanging a belt up?
Actually, not really. Like, it's a valiant way to win the title, technically. Like, I get you're not pinning people, but like, you still have to outlast. Like,
yeah, you're being a survivor in that instance.
Yeah, it's not the weakest way to win a belt. Like, whatever. But yeah, just going to that final note, this whole show really felt like the Jeff Jarrett show. And here's the thing. I'm usually okay with wrestlers who run promotions or book promotions or whatever also being on the show as active competitors. It can be done really right, and it also can be done really wrong. And Jeff Jarrett takes up the focus of this entire show. It's always what he's doing with the legends. It's always him, Madmouth and Toby Keith. Like, he has like a total of like 6 or 7 segments in the show. Like, there's 6 or 7 segments that involve him. Even
Jeff
the ones
Jarrett is Bushi.
even the ones where he's just like, I think when they interview Puppet or whatever, like, he's backstage like kicking stuff around, pissed or whatever. Like this show was all about him. And going forward, it will continue to be all about him.
Eamon, did you also note he was the only one who actually had music?
Yeah, everyone had like
generic. He was the only one who had a non-generic music. And yes, it's still my world, my world.
That was my Rachel promo.
It really, and also just thinking back into like TNA history and realizing like this goes on, like Jarrett being the top heel guy to like 2006 or 7.
Mm-hmm. And when he's not the top heel, he's the top face.
He's still the important guy. Like it really defeats the I think most people's commentary on TNA is like, well, Jeff Jarrett's okay, but Dixie Carter's the one that ruined everything because she doesn't know anything about wrestling. Like, it's clear that like there's also some major like issues here.
Like, why? Why is Jeff Jarrett behind the scenes, the guy who booked all this crap, the one on screen saying how dumb it is?
Yeah.
Like, if your heel character says it's dumb, and your heel character believes that he's right, there's probably some truth to that.
It just also like but it just feels like, and it feels like with Global Force Wrestling, like this is kind of happening the same way. Like during the whole stuff on the TNA thing, Jarrett was the focus. Jarrett and Karen were the focus of the whole Global Force Wrestling thing, not any of the people that were actually from Global Force Wrestling. Chris Mordesky wasn't the star. Justin Gabriel wasn't the star. It was Jeff Jarrett.
I don't even remember Mordesky being a part of that angle.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, Jeff Jarrett, Jarrett has thought he's way more important in wrestling history than he actually is.
Part of me wants to believe that, like, oh, it's not true. Jarrett's like a nice guy. Jarrett means well, but it doesn't. Like, this show reeked of just I'm the important one.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Jarrett wanted to make a show where Jeff Jarrett was the biggest star because he never felt he had that in WWE. And
maybe we're wrong, but it reads like that so heavily, especially with this show.
Like, the only person who got more screen time than Jeff Jarrett was the dancing cage girls.
Yeah. Even, like, the promos in the beginning with Shamrock and Hall, Jarrett always gets the last word. Like, it's just little stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
To me, it kind of makes sense in this show because, as we were saying, like there's not a lot of star power. I mean, when your big stars are Shamrock and Scott Hall, I mean, Jarrett's not that bad because he's a well-known name in the territory. I think the biggest problem is going to be in the next 4 or 5 years when he is actually the focus of the whole promotion.
But see, the thing is, like, you're starting off fresh. You can establish someone as a big star, and not like these cameo guys. Like, it would have shocked me if Malice won.
Yeah.
Like that would have made Malice. That would have made him a big star, or even Apollo.
Malice sticks around for a little while after, so it's not like this is just a guy that you know is a big guy that you use to kind of put over Shamrock. Malice is still going to be there next week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to kind of build if you're going to build him up as a monster. Like,
yeah, and Shamrock isn't sticking around long.
Yeah, like it's so difficult. Like,
yeah, I mean this isn't like Terry Funk winning the ECW title. It's not like that at all.
And I really don't think you needed a whole lot of legends in this case, because if you looked, like it's a fairly big building, but they don't even. There's a part where they cut to the camera shot in the crowd, and there's some empty seats. Like they didn't even completely fill the building.
I think the Legends thing was because they were affiliated with NWA.
Well, you had the Legends thing. The Legends where they're just on screen and not actually wrestling. I'm fine with that. But you have that, and you have. I know we kind of crap on him, but you have that, and you have Toby Keith. That's enough star power where you don't need mid-level WWF, WCW guys coming in and taking over the show.
Mm-hmm. And getting over on your seemingly original talent.
Yeah.
You have to consider that behind this is not exactly Jeff, it's Jarrett.
That's true.
So he's probably pushing for a lot of the. He's probably more in the I want to book Jackie Fargo than book AJ Styles in the main events, you know? So I think that's where the biggest disconnect is. I see a lot of promotions that usually start with nostalgia because they know big names draw. It's like the International Wrestling Cartel. When they rebranded this year, they went with Rhino and Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
And now they have transitioned to Jimmy Nuts, but they have to start with the nostalgia guys, with the people that the crowd knows.
And I also think it's just a mentality as well of like Southern wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I most of the indie maybe Inspire Power is a little bit different, but like most of the indies here, like the big draws are like people who are from WWE, people who you've seen on TV, kind of stuff. It's not like top indie names, you know. So maybe that plays into it. I just think like if this is your first shot, like if this is your first time doing something, I feel like they really did default to like, hey, here's Grandmaster Sexy. Hey, here's Ken Shamrock. Here's Scott Hall.
Yeah, it does seem like they just made a bunch of calls and whoever answered got the show.
Yeah, and if you watch like the History of TNA DVD, which I think I've seen at some point in my life, that's basically how it happened.
Yeah. And I think that the biggest change that we can see is next week in the X Division tournament.
That's true.
To see how they actually book those guys.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to continue this series because I think they have 3 episodes up now total.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to look at next week's and see. Like, I just want to see where they go from here.
I think we might do this as maybe a once a month thing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That way, because if they're uploading them slow, like every couple of weeks or something like that, we'll give them a chance to keep
backlog some and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, let us know. Email us at goodtimes@wrestlingmanshow.com if you want us to keep doing this. I think we might do it anyway because I'm really curious. I want to see what kind of a train wreck that lingerie battle royal is because it's really bad. It's gonna be horrible, and I can't. But yeah. So was there any other comments you guys had on the show before we wrap it up here?
I think I got all my hatred.
Okay.
Yeah, I just my final note was that compared to 2015 wrestling, like this feels really campy. A lot of penis and incest.
I was gonna say again from one of my notes. We've come a long way, guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hashtag Divas Revolution. All right, so Garza, where can the good people of the internet find you?
You can find me at dwrestlingrevolution.com, where you can actually go in and read my notes. I have them posted. And you can find me at DW Revolution at the Twitters.
All right, and Eamon, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Eamon2Please. I can also check out the wrestling organization I'm involved with, which is Inspire Pro Wrestling, at Inspire Pro Reds on Twitter.
Excellent. And I am at MadMike4883 on the Twitter machine. We will be back with live tweeting probably next week because all of the shows this week are recaps. So yeah, look for us on there. Next week we will be back on WrestlingMamShow.com with our first show of 2016, episode 501, Like the Jeans. Yes, I don't know. I think we're all supposed to wear jeans that day. I haven't read the script yet. But yeah,
Guys, we are less than 30 days from the return of Lucha Underground.
Yes, we are.
Oh.
That's a good feeling.
Oh, Tonio, you just did my heart so good. Oh, guys, next month, Lucha Underground returns, and hopefully we will get Mr. DeJoseph back to talk about Lucha Underground before it debuts, so we can ask him a whole bunch of questions about that fucking trailer, because we have questions, so many questions.
A lot of questions.
Yes. All right, so for Eamon Paton, for Antonio Garza, I'm Mad Mike, and this has been the Asylum Year.